Good morning, everybody. This is Island Talk over here in Spokane, and we are live this morning with Dan and Dan. Who wants to take it first?
Morning, Dan.
Morning, Dan. I'm going to write Island Talk on my mug, so this is an official morning show.
Official morning show. I got my Darth Vader mug here to fit with my room of virgins here.
I got my Oker's chocolate milk, and just in case Dylan was here. Oh, hold on.
Oh, is this going to be like a Secret Santa thing?
Yeah, just in case Dylan was here, I had this for him. So, but he's not man enough to hang out with the big boys, you know.
Yeah, we're in Christmas time, and it's finally time for Dylan's creepy Santa basement.
Yeah, it actually makes sense.
He's nowhere to be found. Missing in action.
Finally has some applicability and can't even show up.
No kidding. That's just, yeah, thank God. You know, Uncle Touchy's naked Santa basement is still creepy. It just is not cool, man. I don't know.
His backdrops in his house are fantastic. It's either the naked, creepy, touchy basement or it's Garbage Mountain. So,
or he's in his brother's room and
getting kicked out halfway through the show. Like, yeah. wherever he films from, it ends up working in somehow because it just never works out. I mean, to be fair, Dan, you have that glory hole on your door right behind you, so you always got
that. Nice.
Maybe one day it will be used, maybe.
Listen, that's a little high to be a glory hole, but all right, if that's your thing, I guess.
He's got a chair. You can sit on a stool, you know. I don't judge. He's in Canada. So, Dan, how have you been? We haven't talked to you in a while.
I've been good. I've been real good. Having a lot of fun. You know, 'tis the season for the post office, so I've been hopping at work. I've been working 12-hour days and trying to keep machines running, and actually had a really big catastrophic break on the machine that gets packages out last night. And we were looking at a machine being down for hours, but me and this other guy jumped into it, figured some shit out, and had the machine back up and running again in just over an hour. And it was, we literally saved the day. So it's a good feeling, I really enjoy that.
Almost like a real-life Grinch Stole Christmas kind of thing.
Yeah, sometimes.
You saved it at the end of the day. You know, your heart grew 3 sizes and you saved the day.
Well, I actually got somebody reached out to me, a super fan reached out to me. Lives in New York, and just decided to come to Maine.
Okay.
And asked if we could get together. And I said, "Is that Dylan?"
Nope. No, some questions are starting to come in, so.
Oh, there we go. So he reached out to me and I said, "Yeah, let's have breakfast together." So we went to a little local place called Mr. Bagel, and it was him and his girlfriend, and the 3 of us just hung out, and he had questions, and it was great. It was real nice.
Cool.
So
very cool.
Yeah, I got my favorite Christmas shirt on.
Yeah, I like it. I wish I would have worn my new Christmas shirts now. I grabbed one this morning, and then when I was going through my stuff, I set it down, and then I just threw a sweater on. So now I feel left out.
I got another one. I got this other one that shows like 2 picture frames. There's one here and one here. And this one, it shows a reindeer, and it says, "Santa asked me what I wanted for Christmas." And on this side, it says, "But when I told him he washed my mouth out with soap," and there's the reindeer with a foamy mouth. So I like that one. That's a good one. So.
Yeah, I don't know if I have any that funny. Most of mine are more chill. I think my favorite one being my, I don't know if you've noticed the changes to my office, Dan. It's a good thing this got set up after I got married because I'd never meet a woman at this point. And you think this is bad? Like, I do a 360 of the room and it's everywhere.
Oh, I'm sure.
So
it's so funny because I don't know how many times I have compared like Survivor super fans to like sci-fi, Star Wars, Star Trek super fans. You know, I put them in the exact same category.
I mean, I'm drinking from my Boba Fett glass and my Darth Vader cup, and
Oh man! Oh man!
it's all Star Wars all the time here.
And you're the only one of the island guys that's married.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
makes
I
no
know,
sense to
eh?
me either.
That boggles my mind. It just blows me away.
So for any of you guys who said that I can't win Survivor, don't question my game.
Oh. Okay, so here's all right. This is a question that they always ask at casting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and let me ask this of the both of you.
Okay.
If you got on Survivor, what would your strategy be?
You want to go first, Niko?
I'll go first.
No, Niko, you've already talked. I want to hear from Dan first.
Go ahead.
My strategy, it would be pretty cut and dry. Play the relationships, build relationships with people, be authentic, but meanwhile try myself keep emotions out of the game and play strategically. I think like for me it would be all about playing the middle, trying to keep my options open throughout the game. I don't like to like make comparisons to like anyone I would play like, but I would try to. I like to have control, so I would try to have as much control as possible, and maybe I would end up overplaying in the end. But I would definitely try to be aggressive throughout the game and take my chances.
Who would you most compare yourself to as former survivors?
A former survivor. I hate the cliche response like no, I'm like no one else. But so I'll pick someone. I'll probably say like I know you maybe dislike this person, but maybe Rob C. His first time in Amazon. Probably kind of like him.
Wow. Okay. All right. Niko, what about you?
Well, I wouldn't really go in with a strategy, to be honest, because I feel like going into the game.
Genius! Genius!
The old once you get hit in the mouth, your strategy goes out the window theory.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't like to go into anything with the game set, the game plan, have an idea of what I want to do, but I got to go in being flexible because I'm going to hit the beach, and if I got a strategy, my mind's going to stick to it. So I'm just going to go in and wing the shit out of it. So
Yep.
it's all about flexibility and adaptability.
Who would you most compare yourself to?
Who would I compare myself to? Well, I feel like when I used to fill out the big 400-page applications that they used to make us do,
Yeah.
I think I'd always compare myself. I think at the time I compared myself to Todd from China. I think more so because he was my favorite player at the time.
Okay.
But I wrote down the reasons for. I'd probably give similar confessionals in terms of like just talking mad shit about people, in the confessionals, but playing it straight to their face.
Right.
But he was very subtle. Like it wasn't until about the end of the game when people started kind of to get an idea that he was doing a bit more than they realized, and he was very good at playing friends with people. People liked him, and he's a good speaker. And I feel like for the most part I'm a pretty decent speaker. So
one more. Excuse me.
Dan Foley blowing snot rockets on the island talk.
No, he's not. Plugging his nose.
Do you agree with those player comparisons, Dan, or do you know us well enough now? You think us have pegged us differently?
Okay, so I agree and disagree with both of you.
Okay.
I agree with Dan with what your comparison to a person, because I don't want to compare myself to anybody. I kept telling him I am like nobody you ever had, and I think I proved that. But I disagree with your strategy.
Okay.
They're all they're all kind of cliches. They're all like the safe, everything else.
Okay.
Niko, but they want to hear that. They want to hear a definitive answer as to what your strategy is going to be. But
Okay.
Niko, you're right. I mean, you cannot go into the game with a concrete strategy if you are not flexible, if you're not, fluid like water. You're screwed. You get fixated on one thing, and you're in a lot of trouble. You have to be able to, change things up, not just vote to vote, not just day to day, but sometimes hour by hour.
Yeah.
And you really have to be like that.
Who knew you were such a big Bruce Lee fan, Dan? Be like water.
And it's funny because I told casting that, but when I met with Probst and he asked me, I told him the truth. I told him exactly how I felt about, and you have to just flow. And he goes, I don't understand why casting gets hung up on that answer. But he said, you're 100% right. You shouldn't come into this game with a strategy in advance. You should come into it blind, and just, you've got to be able to, you've got to be able to go on the move. You've got to be able to, make quick snap judgments and changes. I can definitely see the Todd comparison, Niko. I can see that. More recently, though, I'd much more compare myself, if I were you, to Cochran.
Yeah.
You're the smart geek. You're the underdog. You're the guy that's going to be underestimated, but you're going to be boost at the challenge. At the puzzle challenges. You may not do well in a sprint against somebody. I mean, I don't know how physical. Oh, there we go. Are you good at that?
Well, I used to sprint. I'm probably not at the moment. I'm pretty out of shape at the moment, but I think I'm a little more athletic than Cochran was.
That's not saying much.
I would say I'm 6'2", and I was in a lot of competitive sports. So
how windy
Really?
does it get out there, Dan? Because I worry
I
about
got blown away.
a breeze taking Niko, maybe gusting him away.
Oh.
Don't pull someone's finger. You're going to knock Niko over. Yeah, that's perfect. That's awesome. Yeah, those are the kind of questions that they ask. I mean, final rounds of casting are going on right now.
Okay.
They started on December 13th. They're probably finishing up.
Yeah, I haven't even sent a taping because I think I sent my last one in last January, and they make you wait the whole year or whatever.
Yeah,
But,
that's why if you get like, Niko is a god, at yahoo.com, then you have Niko is a god 2, Niko is a god 3, Niko is a god 4, Niko is a god 5. Just keep making new email addresses because that's the only way they identify you. So just keep making new email addresses and just keep sending in tapes every time.
This is good advice for anyone who wants to work hard to get on the show too. So,
well, I'll tell you right now, generally the casting time of year starts in October.
Okay.
So you need to be thinking about your video in June. What you want to do, how you want to do it, how you want to set it up, figure out what you want to do, get it filmed, get it done completely by September, middle of September, no later than that. And then send it in over the airwaves end of September, beginning of October, because that's when they start looking.
Yeah, because I never, and that's my biggest thing is I never know what to do in my video because I don't want to tool it up too much. But
I gotta tell you, it really blows my mind that they don't take more people from the open casting calls, because that would be a really reflective representation of how that individual will be in a confessional. And
Right.
Everybody knows that the confessionals are a really big part of the game. It's a subtle part, but it's a monster important part. And they want somebody who's going to give good confessionals, somebody that's going to be, that's something cool, something fun, something interesting, something controversial to say in a confessional. So, I mean, if I'm trying to give tips, number one, don't sound scripted. You got to sound natural. You got to sound just as natural as you can be. Number two, they love regional accents. Love them. I was talking. Yeah, you're screwed. Dan, Dan, don't you know right there? Hey, you'd be great.
But I'm not American. That's why I have a regional accent.
Oh, too bad. Sucks to be you. Sorry, dude.
I think for Big Brother Canada, I just sound like almost anyone from southern Ontario.
Yeah. Yeah, there's nothing special there, unfortunately.
No.
I remember talking to Sarah Lucina, and the guy that recruited her, or the casting agent with her, actually looked at her and said, "I have been looking for you for years. You are my Fargo." And she'd never seen the movie. She didn't know what he was talking about.
That's one of my favorite movies ever.
Yeah, she had no idea what he was talking about. None. So she actually went and watched the movie. And she goes, "I don't talk like that." And I'm like, "Oh, yes, you do. Yeah, you do."
I don't know if she has the Minnesota accent that much. Does she?
Oh, yeah, she talks through it. She's a little nasally when she talks. Yeah, she is definitely Midwestern, Michigan, Minnesota, South Dakota area. Yeah, it's pretty distinctive.
Where's Sarah from, Dan? Do you know?
I did know, but I don't remember. She's from somewhere in that area.
Okay.
Only we had this thing called the internet to look it up on.
Yeah, I'm not a creepy stalker, but you go right ahead, my friend.
Cedar Rapids, Iowa.
There you go. See, I'm actually on the phone. I'm not in front of a computer at the same time, so thank you, Niko, for that.
Yeah.
But
well, I have to be on a computer to do this, so.
Very Cochran-esque of you.
Yes, it is, isn't it? Almost Fishback-like.
Oh, yeah. He's
like
blogging.
He's shitting my pants, or.
Nico's actually blogging about this podcast, so he'll post that up after about his experiences with us. So it should be good.
Well, the last thing that they seem to be looking for quite a bit, and it's kind of weird, but they really like backstories, a really interesting backstory. And a lot of times the backstory has nothing to do with the season. It never comes out. But for some reason, casting just seems to think that it makes you more interesting. So Lindsay was a recruit for my season, and she was actually in a horrific car accident when she was 16 years old, and she has cadaver parts in one of her legs.
Oh.
Yeah. Wow. They got really fixated on my adoption because I had recently found my mother after 45 years. They found that to be fascinating. Mike put in his application that he was molested when he was a child, so they really liked that.
Yeah, and that was kind of in the preseason stuff too a little, but no one really picked that up at all. Mm-hmm. And it was never really part of Mike's narrative at all. So it's surprising they don't really go into these backstories that much.
But it fascinates them during casting.
I think there was enough touchy subjects in that season to get into that.
Yeah. Yes, there were.
I think they had plenty to go with.
Dan, do you think, like, if this was, say, Survivor 1 or 2, we would get more of that backstory stuff to, like, drive the characters home? Or do you think that's just the way it's always been?
I think that's the way it's always been. And I think it's more so now than it used to be. But it was funny because, who are we talking to? Oh, I did Max's podcast a week ago.
Yep.
And Christina something or other from Cook Islands.
Christina, the cop?
Yes.
Okay, I forget her last name, but I know who you're talking about. She goes out in that swap, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's her. Really very pleasant, very sweet, very nice.
Christina Correa.
Thank you. I knew it was a CC. Thank you very much. We were talking about Cook Island, which was, how long ago was that?
Was that season 13?
Okay, I was going to say, I thought it was 11, but it was, way back. Mm-hmm. It was quite a while ago. And social media didn't have the same presence then that it does now.
Yeah.
So we started talking about, the differences between the seasons. And Mike didn't name the individual, but he said he had talked to somebody, and they were from one of the first 5 seasons. He wouldn't even say which season it was. He was trying to be respectful. And he said this person got an extra $1 million, $1 million, just because they were invited to do public speaking, to do signings, to be, just be here as a guest star appearance. These people were making incredible amounts of money far beyond the show because it was something new. It was refreshing. These people were rock stars, literally. And now, come to season 30, there's nothing for me. There was nothing but, all this instant hatred, in this online presence. And, even from Christina's season to ours, that online social media presence wasn't there. There was no Survivor Sucks. There was no Reddit. There was no Facebook or Twitter or whatever.
Well, Dan, we can kind of go into this season now because a lot of hate has been coming at, like, Abby Maria, Steven got some hate. Yeah, Kelly Wentworth's got some hate. So, like, it seems like now it's become commonplace for these trolls or whoever, these people to come out of the woodwork and just spew this venom at people that they've never met, and they're just basing it on a character, an edited version of a person they've seen on television. So, I don't know, what do you think of, does it kind of put things into perspective a little bit for yourself now as you see other people going through kind of what you went through last season?
Well, I'm not going to say I'm the first person to ever receive hate. That's for damn sure, and I'm certainly not the last person. And I think I don't understand Abby. I can't wrap my head around her, because in person she is just the nicest girl in the world. She is so sweet, but she gets on that show and she loses her mind. You are there to play for $1 million. Who gives a shit about your bracelet from Claire's? Nobody cares about your Hot Topics bracelet, okay? What is wrong with you? Buy 100 more. Focus on the game. And, Joe had such amazing popularity. Anytime anybody had, anything bad to say about Joe, they're going to get hate, But I don't think they made Kelly out to look bad. Abby made herself look bad. So, it's tough because you get this instant feedback, and I did have a theory about it. We live in such an uptight, politically correct world where you can't say anything because somebody is guaranteed to be offended. Guaranteed. Yeah,
and they can express their offense, like being offended, literally in seconds. So.
Well, yeah, but I'm just talking about in face-to-face stuff.
Okay.
But we are so repressed and we are so stifled, and we are not told to tell people the truth anymore. And I'm not saying just be hateful. I'm saying just be honest about things. And we're taught you can't do that. You have to be nice to people all the time. And I'm not saying we shouldn't be nice to people either. I'm sure I'll get hate for that. Sometimes it's okay to be honest because, constructive criticism can be helpful. But we're so muffled in our abilities to just speak freely that people go on to Survivor Sucks and Reddit and Twitter, and they just, you use the perfect words, and I've used them exactly the same way. They spew this venom because if they don't get these comments out, they're going to explode. They're just going to die inside because they can't speak their mind.
Absolutely. So we've been going for about 25 minutes now. So I feel like at some point we should start talking about the tribe swap.
All right, there was a mix-up. Yep.
Yeah, there was a mix-up.
But I mentioned the season a little bit. We talked about it a little bit.
I know, a little bit. But let's jump into the finale a little bit.
Good finale.
Jeremy wins. Jeremy 10-0.
Well, thanks for the spoiler alert. You got to warn people it's coming, man. What the hell's wrong with you?
He's been working 12-hour shifts, Niko. You think he watched it yet?
He's already done a recap show. He's up to date.
Not for me, for all the fans. What do you got, 2, 3 people listening?
Oh, yeah, we're good.
It's a morning show.
We actually have 4 people on right now.
Wow.
All right, very cool, man.
That's twice our normal viewership, so we're doing pretty well. We need to start doing more morning shows, apparently. But But yeah, so I guess spoiler alert, 5 minutes ago, Jeremy won. So so what do we think about the season as a whole? I'll just throw one of the questions out there that'll just
Bring
kind
a
of
question.
relate to what we're talking about. So one, were you guys surprised Jeremy won 10-0, and where does the season rank in terms of your favorite? I have it ranked at number 2. These are both from Aaron Jr. 88. Aaron, what's up?
What do you say, Aaron Jr.? Good morning to you.
One of our bigger fans. Good dude.
Yeah, he's in the top 2.
Well, there's
Nice.
only 2, so.
Yeah.
If he plays third, that would really suck.
Yeah. But what do you guys think about the shutout?
Dan, go ahead.
I was a little surprised. I thought Jeremy was going to win when they got there, and kind of you could read the way the questions were kind of coming, and once he gave that nail in the coffin at the end there, revealing, like, I have a son on the way.
Oh, yeah.
You know, timing is everything.
Oh, yeah.
Jeremy had beautiful timing throughout the game with his idol plays, knowing when to reveal that. So I wasn't surprised he won, but I just thought Spencer or Tasha would get a vote somewhere. Someone would respect the game they played, but it seemed like Jeremy was the overwhelming favorite, and I think that was a mistake from the other two not seeing that sooner.
I couldn't agree more with that. I didn't expect Tasha to get a vote. Not a one. No, she was the absolute GOAT there, hands down. I did expect Spencer to get 1, maybe 2 votes.
Exactly.
But I really expected it up until, and what they do is they ask you at Ponderosa, when you're on the jury, the day before Final Tribal, Jeff comes out with one of the executive producers, Matt, and they sit you down, and they're like, okay, who are you voting for? And they want to know. And some people literally go in there and say, I don't know. I am an open book. I'm going to decide there. Mm-hmm. And my answer when I got in there was, I don't know, but it isn't fucking Mike. That was literally my answer. That's exactly what I said. And I ended up changing my vote at Tribal Council. But what they said was that they ask you to, they call you up in the order of what they think is relevance. So the deeper you go before you ask your question, the more relevant they think your question will be in the grand scheme of things.
Okay.
So I'm watching and I'm waiting and I'm like, where's Wentworth? Where's Wentworth? Where's Wentworth? I'm waiting and I'm waiting. And she is the last person. I'm like, she is going to say something magnificent. She is going to say something absolutely spectacular. And then when she asked the question, I'm like, this is it. This is it. Jeremy's got to find a way to talk about the pregnancy. This is it. It's perfect. And sure, and I'm saying this as I'm watching it out loud to people because we had people here. Sure enough, he's the third person to be asked. He's the last person, and he whips out the pregnancy thing, and I'm like, that's it. Sign the check. He won the game unanimously. It's a blank.
Drop the mic, walk out.
Oh, God, yeah, absolutely. Just write zeros on the check now. I don't even think Spencer's going to get a vote now.
Yeah.
And as soon as they showed the first vote, I'm like, it's Jeremy. He blanked them. It's a shutout. It's the third perfect game. And you're right. And you were right, Dan. They were absolutely. I could not get over the idea that nobody recognizes that Jeremy is a threat. He had no immunity, regular immunity necklaces. Nobody targeted him. Yeah, they could have gotten rid of him at any point, and he never would have seen it coming. But I'm telling you, Keith was an idiot to have not played that idol. Oh my God, was he stupid?
So do you mean to, like, give it to Jeff or just not to whip it out at Tribal Council and dangle it? Because, like, I think he needed to do something before the votes are cast, right? Doing something after with the idol.
It's pointless.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, look at it this way.
So he needed to kind of pull a Mike, where
Hold
Mike
on.
kind of bluffed with Sharin there.
Dan's about to explode. Let him go.
Sorry, Dan.
No, he's not. I'm good. No, I cut Niko off. Niko, you didn't get a chance to answer the question.
Oh, the last question?
Yes.
About Jeremy? Oh, I mean, I thought it would be a little bit closer between Jeremy and Spencer initially, but I think it even showed just over the couple tribal councils beforehand. Spencer started getting a little bit into his own head, started getting a little big for his britches, and he acted that way. You know, the way he called out Kimmy, lost a vote. The way he called out Kelly, lost a vote. You know, he threw 2 votes away, like, immediately, back-to-back tribal councils, and kind of made himself look like a total douche. So, I mean, I thought it would be closer going into the finale between those two. I didn't think Tasha was going to get any votes. I said, like, probably 3-4 weeks ago that I thought she was going to go into the finale as a GOAT. So, I mean, I expected it to be a little bit closer, but, yeah, the second that, you know, gives that final answer, mic drop, walk out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You go to the vote reading. Once that second vote pops up, Jeremy, you're like, okay, it's over. And
Yep.
I was still a little bit. I'm like, wow, he's really shutting him out. Like, damn. But not surprised at all. I feel like Spencer played a really good game outside of you know, he kind of blew it, I think, a little bit towards the end. And you know, got to go back and look at Final 7, and maybe he went the wrong direction.
Yeah. Yeah. I was basically saying that. Excuse me. That if Jeremy wins, if he gets to the end of the game, no matter who's left, he wins. Wow. That's all there is to it. If Kelly got to the end, I think she won. I think she beat everybody except Jeremy.
But she gave him a run for the money.
I think they would respect the fact that she was in a bad way. And I think they would respect the fact that she did unscrupulous things because she was on the bottom. If you're on the top and you do rotten things, that just looks bad on you. But I think they would have respected, I think they would have respected Kelly and condemned Spencer. I think Kelly would have beaten Spencer all day long.
Yeah.
All day.
Oh, totally.
I think Spencer's the third person. If it's Spencer versus Tasha, Kimmy, or Keith, I think Spencer beats all of them.
Yeah.
I think there was enough respect on the jury that they would have at least given him credit for playing a good game against everybody else. If it was Tasha, Kimmy, and Keith, I literally don't know who could have won that. I really don't know.
Nail. But,
you think so? You think Keith would have won that?
No, I don't. I feel like, I mean, it'd be nice. It'd be nice to think. I'm a big Keith fan just in terms of entertainment. I don't think he'll win.
No.
Especially this season. I think his shot was San Juan del Sur. But no, I mean, in that, I'd say it might be good. It'd come down to Kimmy and Tasha. And I'd like to think that from the edit, it'd be Tasha, but it'd be an entirely different edit if that were the case. So, hey,
Yeah.
Dylan's here.
Oh,
Dylan's here.
What?
Oh.
I don't see his picture yet.
I don't either. I think he's trying to sign on.
Are you still drunk, Dylan? Are you still a little drunk?
Morning, sunshine.
Hey. What do you say? What do you say, Uncle Touchy?
Oh, he's in the Christmas room. Nice.
Tis the season. Hey, Dylan, you gonna talk or you just gonna take shit?
Hey, what's up? Nice guy.
How you feeling, buddy?
Dylan looks so hungover right now. Hey, you look like you got hit by a truck, dog.
Dude, you are a walking train wreck right now, man. It's beautiful.
And Dan knows.
Hangover. What's your hangover secret, Dan Foley?
I have it right here. It's called Pedialyte.
Yeah, Pedialyte is a good move. Or just keep drinking. You know, either way.
Yeah, Dylan, Dan brought some Jamesons for you. But I don't think you're in any condition right now to have any, so...
You know, I set my alarm, I slept through it, but I was like, you know, this show's going to go for like 4 hours, so I'm pretty sure I'll be like...
Yeah, I mean, more than likely you would have jumped in right at the tribe swap, so you'd be good.
Yeah. Yeah, so there was a mix-up this week. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
So what did I
So-
miss? What are we talking about? What did I miss?
So we talked about just casting stuff for probably the first 25 minutes. We just started jumping into the finale.
I'm making
So-
my video right now.
Oh, I believe you told me the other day that you were bitching out because you watched the preview for the next season and everyone dies. So you told me you were bitching out.
Here's the thing. I wouldn't try hard at all at any challenge, so I would not have any chance of getting hurt. So.
Dude, I can barely hear you.
Dude, you got to fix your mic, man. You are cutting in and out, and you're scratchy as hell with what we can hear.
Yeah.
You hear me now?
No.
No.
You hear me now?
No.
I don't know.
You have like your mic's all staticky. Try to jump out and jump back in really quick.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
We'll miss you. We'll miss you dearly.
Oh, yeah.
No, we won't.
All right,
So-
give us another question. Give us another question,
So
Niko.
let's jump into that Keith stuff though.
Oh, all right, yeah.
Keith in the finale. So let's look at it. Let's look at him in Final Six first, because this is when it starts. So let's talk about the Final Six Tribal Council in general. Crazy Tribal Council. So
Yeah,
we have the
ridiculous.
first vote. We have that first vote. Spencer's immune. Jeremy plays his idol. Kelly plays her idol. No votes. Revote.
Who called that? Did any of you call that?
I didn't say it, but I'm pretty sure.
Well, we talked about it last week a little bit on the
Because
show.
I can't remember.
Well, Probst alluded to it by saying this has never happened in the history of the show.
Right.
Yeah.
That was the
That's
only
all
thing we
we
could
saw.
think of. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I thought it'd be a Final Four Tribal Council, like something crazy like that, or the vote's nullified.
Yeah. Yeah, I called it 100%. I'm like, listen, Spencer wins immunity. Both Kelly and Jeremy play their hidden immunity idols. Everybody votes for the two of them. No votes get cast. It's going to be beautiful.
Well, and just the way that it goes, because then they do the revote, and then Tasha and Kimmy, they're up, and so they can't go to Rocks, because if they go to Rocks, Keith's automatically out.
Right?
But he didn't
And-
realize that. He didn't realize that.
Well, yeah, I don't think he
I don't
figured
think
it out
anybody
initially.
realized it.
I don't
I
think
did.
anyone knew what to do. Well, yeah, whatever, Dylan.
I realized it. I mean,
Yeah,
That's
I
it.
figured it out right after when Jeff was about to explain it. I'm like, well, Keith's the only one who can draw a rock in this situation.
Mhm.
I think, unless
Yeah.
they're going to change the rules.
yeah,
But
exactly.
but Jeff didn't really seem to explain it to them that well in the moment. He's just kind of like, if you can't come to a consensus now, Keith, you go home. And it's like, oh, okay.
And Keith is hilarious listening to Keith, like, after the game. He was like, hell, I didn't know what was going on. I didn't get no votes, and I'm going home somehow. I don't know what's
I'm
that
going to the
about.
house.
Yeah, it's like the worst person to have that happen to, because
Yeah.
probably you could explain it to him 1,000 times, and he'll probably not, he'll miss something in it in the explanation.
But
I
you
don't
have-
know why
yeah,
he
you
sent
have-
me to the house.
Yeah, but you've got to understand, though, this is the guy that literally looked at the camera and said, so wait a minute now. If Fishback steals Joe's vote, that means he gets two? Really? You couldn't put one and one together to get two? You needed clarification? And you think he's going to understand the rock draw thing? Dude, no way. No.
I think he might understand the basic, normal situation rock draw, but I think a lot of people were confused. I know my sister was texting me, and she's like, well, why aren't they drawing rocks? I'm like, well, because no one else is eligible. She's like, well, why aren't
Right.
they doing fire then? I'm like, because that's a Final Four thing. Because she was confused too. She's like, I don't understand why Keith's going home. And she's been watching the show with me forever, and she was confused as hell. So, I mean,
Well,
I think
it
for
was
a lot of people it was confusing.
It was a good move on.
What was
It
that,
was a
Dylan?
good move of.
Nothing.
Okay.
It was a good move of Probst to actually have the picture of all of them and break
Yeah.
it down like he did, like a football scoreboard
Right.
kind of thing.
That was
That
that was a super cool picture too. I hope he auctioned that off. That's
Yeah.
I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed. They're like they missed an opportunity here to get John Madden out of retirement And just bring him in, like he can start dissecting little pictures during commercial breaks for quick segments.
Well, we've got Keith over here sitting on the end, not really sure what the play is right now. You got Jeremy up here sitting next to Kelly.
Let's be real. John Madden doesn't know what the hell he's talking about ever. So it would just be more confusing.
I feel like his one Super Bowl ring would differ, but whatever.
He was a hell of a football coach. He was a hell of a football coach.
So I will say that during that segment, I was a little disappointed because I think this is one of the first reunion shows or finales for a while where Jeff hasn't went and talked with the fans. I think this would have been a perfect time to bring a super fan up to do all the math up on front. Just to prove that super fans can do math,
Not all of them can.
Not all of them.
I'm surprising we don't have, like, Jeff doesn't throw to a guy on the street now. Like, he always references the street. I'm surprised he doesn't have, like, I'm going to Larry on the street, and then you have some dude with a microphone interviewing all these people allegedly on the street that Jeff talks to.
Well, the problem with something like that is that it's too random. You're really just taking a huge chance, and it's live TV. Yeah. You've only got so much leeway. You've only got so much latitude for something like that, and you never know if some moron's going to start dropping F-bombs on you.
Yeah, you get me on the street. I'm like, they ask me a question, I'll be like, "These nuts," and then they're going to let me cut.
Could you just film the segment ahead of time?
Yeah, you would do it earlier in the day.
Yeah.
And then you would just make it seem like you're cut and do it, and you just take the ones from the people that acted like adults.
Yeah, I'd be cut from that segment.
Yeah, Dylan would be the first one cut.
Just D's nuts.
Oh,
D's
man.
nuts, 2016.
They would just tape right. You wouldn't even make the cutting room floor, dude. They would just tape right over your shit. That would be the end of it.
Seconds.
Oh man. Back to the Keith tribal.
Yeah.
Dude, I felt Keith was very endearing when he was about to give up his spot for Kimmy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do too.
Like, my buddy was kind of pissed. He's like, "What an idiot!" I'm like, "Well, he didn't do it. First of all, and second of all, like,
he was torn.
He was torn. Yeah.
He was.
I mean, the dude's character just flows out during that episode during the finale.
And I gotta tell you though, if it came down to a Tasha, Kimmy, and Keith final, I think because of that moment,
he would have won.
I think Keith would have won. Yeah, I forgot all about that. We were talking about this earlier about if this then this, but I think if it was a Tasha, Kimmy, and Keith final, I think Keith would have won because of that moment. I think that would have made a very deep impression on the jury.
Yeah.
I think why people like Keith so much, or why I do, is in Survivor, I think it's such a cold landscape nowadays where people are so calculated. It's about the game. And Keith is more of a throwback character where you have the emotion. He connects with the emotion in the game. And he has trouble with these, like, ethical decisions to him that for me or maybe other players, they're not as ambiguous to us because we've studied the game or we've watched the show. But to Keith, he battles with the moral, like the morals that are involved in the game. He battles with the stuff and he's kind of endearing in that way because you don't see many characters now. Most people are in it for themselves, and Keith, he wants to win, but he's still emotionally connected.
Keith, like, in the game of Survivor, Keith wouldn't tell, like, he's not going to be a dick and tell the other alliance to vote for you. You know what I mean? Like, he's going to be your friend.
Yeah.
Like, he's not going to tell the other alliance to vote for you.
But that just goes to show his lack of skill in the game. But at the same time, it draws you into the person that he is. That is what makes him endearing. And it's funny because, Dan, when I asked you earlier about, what would your strategy be for the game? One of the things that you specifically said was, I'm not going to get emotionally invested in the game. You're going to try to stay neutral. And dude, I got to tell you, I said the same thing. I said word for word the same thing. You cannot help, unless you are a sociopath like Spencer, you will become emotionally attached to people. You can't avoid it. You're with these people 24/7. There's no escaping, no getting away, and you rely on them and they rely on you. There's bonds, the genuine bonds that are made there. And I think Keith put those bonds above everything. And I think it was a detriment to him. But one of the things that Joe should have done, Joe didn't do it right in my season, and Keith didn't do it at all. He had a fake idol. And if Keith was actually more aware of who he was playing with, Jeremy was paranoid as hell.
Yeah,
they showed it. Spencer was definitely paranoid, but but Jeremy was very paranoid, and I think everybody knew it. All he had to do was just simply take the hidden immunity idol, and then Jeff says, okay, it is time to vote. And then Keith go, well, I know right now it's supposed to be time to vote right there, but I got to let you know that I am putting on this necklace, and I am not going anywhere. Kelly and I are voting for Spencer, so you better figure out who you guys are voting for. All right, Jeff, I'm ready. Let's do this. And as soon as he said that, I guarantee you, Spencer goes home. Jeremy would have jumped ship. He would have jumped ship.
Well, but here's the thing: if they're saying they're voting for Spencer, why would Jeremy? Why would he do that? Because if he flips, and say he doesn't have the idol, then he just loses Tasha and Spencer's vote.
I don't think so. Nope. I think Tasha does it too. I think Tasha goes with Spencer too, because if all three of them were gonna vote for Keith, and all of a sudden Keith whips out an idol, or even better, Kelly whips out the idol.
I think Kelly should have done it.
Because Kelly had hidden immunity, she had regular immunity. So if she whipped out the idol and said, guys, I just wanted to let you know, I found the last of the idols. And Keith, you're going nowhere tonight. I'll tell you right now, the two of us are voting for Spencer. I guarantee you they would have voted for Spencer, and Keith would have stayed in the game.
Well, Kelly talked about that in one of her post-game interviews. I think it was on the Know-It-Alls that Rob and Josh did at the finale. And Kelly talked to him about that, and they asked her that. They said, well, why didn't you – they're like, why the hell did you give that fake idol to Keith when you know that the guy is incapable of strategy? And she said the biggest reason she did it is she felt that the way that she played her first two idols were entirely secretive, and they were both just complete blindsides after the vote. And so she said that she felt like if she whipped that thing out before, it would come off as not her. It wouldn't be her character, and that she felt like they would smell the bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah, but if she actually prefaced it by saying, you know something, I'm going to take a page out of Jeremy's book, and she prefaced it like that, I think it would have been believable, because Jeremy did.
Justified it by saying well, this time I want to make them fight among themselves and figure out who they take out.
She has to find a way to word it, but I understand her reasoning too.
I get her reasoning.
Oh, I do.
I just don't trust Keith to do it. I'm sorry.
No, I don't. I didn't either. But I think it could have been good either way. But again, Keith is not a strategist. He's never going to be remembered as a great thinker of the game. No. He just won't. Character. But I think if Kelly just simply prefaced it the right way, I think it would have been believable. And Jeremy was so paranoid at that point. Mm-hmm. And I think they all saw it. Yeah. I think everybody saw it. They all knew. And even the fact that Jeremy told Keith he wanted to vote for Spencer. That should tell you something. Even if he isn't sure, even if it's a 50-50 shot, it's better than nothing.
I was going to say, I watched the Ponderosa video for Keith, and the Ponderosa people, the jury, thought that it was a real idol. They're like, I'm pretty sure, so half of them were thinking that, Keith, I think you just got voted out with a real idol in your pocket. Because, it looked so good, and, it had the note. So, Joe and Sierra and Cass were all kind of, examining the idol and, wondering, did Keith just get voted out with an idol in his pocket for not playing it? So, the jury wasn't, it was definitely convincible to be a real idol.
It totally looked real.
Yo, what seals it is the note that Kelly Wentworth had the foresight to keep her notes. Keep your notes, people, because then you can use it to wrap up these fake idols.
Or make a little hat. You can also make a little hat with it.
No, don't do that.
Don't be Edna.
Yeah, exactly. No, I think it was just such a monster mistake. Spencer would have gone home. And I think Keith could have beat Jeremy in that final challenge.
Oh, the final challenge. Yeah, I thought you were going to say the final tribal. I'm like, what are you smoking? You drinking already?
No. I think he could have beat him in the final challenge.
Yeah.
And I think there's a chance Jeremy would have gone home.
Yeah, definitely.
I think there's a chance it would have been a Spencer, Tasha, Keith final.
Or in that case, it would have been a Kelly.
Keith wins.
Kelly, Tasha.
Or Kelly, yeah, Kelly wins.
Kelly. Well.
Yeah, because Spencer goes home at 5 and Jeremy goes home at 4. And then Kelly smokes the jury.
I think so too.
I know we're getting a little ahead of ourselves, but I'm just thinking, like, I think the only two people that couldn't win the game in that final 6 were Spencer and Tasha. I think everyone else had a shot to take some votes. Like, Kimmy was very popular with the jury. Keith was very popular with the jury. Both of them. Kelly was loved by the jury. So all three of them, could have taken Jeremy down if they were in the final 3 of them. So I think Jeremy, had. I'm not surprised he went 10-0 now. Really looking at it, like he made the right calls until he took to the final 3 of them.
I gotta tell you, I don't know if it's a Spencer, Tasha, Kimmy final. I would give that to Spencer.
I think Spencer would win. I
don't think so.
However, in that scenario, that would imply that Kimmy's plan at Final 6 works, and all of a sudden she's looking like a gangster.
Yeah. Like she would have that on resume.
Yeah, if they make that flip and Jeremy goes home at 6 because he doesn't play that idol and he gets just destroyed by Kimmy Kappenberg, Jeremy goes down as the man who got destroyed by Kimmy Kappenberg. And so that's something he doesn't want on his resume. And all of a sudden, Kimmy Kappenberg looks like a straight-up OG gangster. Straight up. So she's going to get some votes from that.
I really like, though, how Kimmy Kappenberg went out. I thought it was, it sucks to lose the game, but it was a good look for her. She went out, she realized she was on the bottom probably, or even if she wasn't, she felt like if she wanted to win the game, she needed to do something. Mm-hmm. And so I applaud that. I thought it was really cool to see.
I thought she got a bad edit going out. I thought she got a bad edit.
No, it's not a bad edit, dude. Trust me, it is not a bad edit. All right?
Yeah, but what I mean is, like, they made her look stupid. Like, they made her look like a bad player. Like, you know
something? I think she was based upon what they showed us.
Well, I don't know.
I'm not picking on her, but I'll tell you why. Because I really wanted Kimmy to go home the night Joe went home.
Okay.
And the reason why is because it would have been beautiful irony if she had gone home that night instead of Joe, because originally Monica approached Kimmy and said, we need to do the All Girls Alliance. We could do this. We've got the numbers. What did Kimmy do? She went toddling straight to Jeremy. And she got, gosh, she's talking about an all-girl alliance. She's sneaky. We got to get rid of her. She's got to go. And then later in the game, Kimmy's talking about the all-girl alliance. And if she get voted out because of it, that would have been beautiful. It would have been just irony in every dripping, gorgeous form. And that would have been just karma all over her.
Yeah.
But do you think that's Kimmy's strategy to a point? She saw Monica early wanting to bring that up, and she's like, well, that's my idea down the stretch. I don't want anyone getting ahead of that.
No way.
He kind of just, flip-flopped a bit.
I think she just totally flip-flopped. How many episodes did we go and we didn't see a word out of Kimmy? A lot.
Pretty much every episode since the Monica vote.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, right. There was so little after that she contributed to. She was like, wait a minute.
She called the girls the witches, too.
Yeah. Oh, she did come up with that, which is great, But other than that, there was so little of Kimmy. It's like, oh, wait a minute, Kimmy's still in the game? Really? Mm-hmm. Oh, all right. Well, that's great. Good for you, Kimmy. So, yeah, I mean, it was kind of cool she went out the way that she did. But again, Monica said something. You turned on her, and got her voted out. Jeremy swears up and down that you're loyal, swears up and down that you're faithful, swears up and down that you are with them, and you are 100% not. And you get caught, and you get voted out because of it. That I love.
And I think the one thing I do want to give Kimmy credit for is the underrated, inappropriate quote of the night in the finale, where they're at the final tribal council, and she's talking about Jeremy, Spencer, and Tasha, and saying, "I just didn't want to be at the bottom of that three-way." And let's be real, if we're looking back at Kimmy Kappenberg in Australia, I think she would have been all about being on the bottom of that three-way.
I think everybody else would have been all about that.
What? Jeremy, Spencer, Tasha, three-way? I don't want to be a part of that.
The four-way. Kimmy's involved as well.
No, I think, but that was the quote. That was the quote.
Yeah, maybe.
It might have been four-way. I don't remember. Either way.
The more the merrier, you know.
The subtle origin reference.
Well, Spencer did something like that about Joe a few episodes ago. He made some wildly inappropriate, or it just sounded wrong.
Yeah.
It's like I'm all about doing Joe or something like that. I don't remember. I'm sure somebody remembers what it was, but it was
I think the exact wording was, "I'm gonna bang Joe."
I'm
quite sure that was not what the quote was.
Oh man,
that might have been a Tasha quote.
I think Dylan's still drunk.
My god, dude, it was ridiculous last night. Ridiculous. I may have pissed a lot of people off too.
No, Dylan, say it isn't so.
You're saying you're not a very calm and quiet drunk? I would have.
I was on Skype with Dan at one point last night. I think.
No, you never Skyped me last night, buddy.
I did like 7 p.m. I think, 8 p.m. Me and Sam were on Skype.
Oh yeah, that early. Okay, so you don't recall a lot of your evening then?
Wow.
Skype, yeah. Love it.
I believe the phone number is 1-800-GET-HELP. I think that's the
This is the acceptable age to binge drink, Dan.
Yeah.
We have to take advantage of it. We have to take advantage of it.
Yeah. Mid-20s, bro.
I don't remember them well.
Yeah. But yeah. So Keith, love Keith.
So I feel so all the
I really hate to say this, but I put Keith in the Abby Maria category.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Basically, they are people that we love to watch, not for the same reasons, but you love to watch them, but they're terrible at the game.
That's fine.
Keith just goes into challenges, and you just wind him up, and he goes. And he does really well in challenges, but he can't play the game.
And I would even say that Abby is probably a better player strategically than Keith is.
I don't know if I'd say that.
Well,
I don't know if I'd say that.
I think she's got a little more of a game mind on her. Like I know that she's very abrasive and emotional. But I mean, you got to give her the credit of the fact that if you watch go back and watch the beginning of the season, she was doing a lot of it through like bullying and being a psycho. But she kept finding ways to keep herself. Yeah, she kept finding ways in the early part of the game, especially, to keep herself in the game and to keep herself within the power. Sure, people were working with her because they didn't want to vote her out because she was, Looney Tune. But there's a little something to that.
I think you're putting the cart before the horse on that one, because I think she's more like what's a good example? She's more like Sarah Lacina in Brains, Bronze, and Beauty. At one point, and again, it was all manipulated, it was all crap, but Sarah Lacina made the comment about, I'm the most powerful person in the game right now because I'm a split vote. They need me. And what happened was they turned on her and got rid of her. Mm-hmm. But because they kept breaking up the tribes and they kept shuffling people around, nobody had any tight alliances. They were literally handcuffed to cooperate with Abby Maria. Her motives were not strategic. They were not well thought out. It was, I do not like you, and I want you to go. And that's the reason why Wu went. Well, they didn't care about Wu. Abby wanted Wu gone. They just didn't show any of it.
Yeah.
So that's the story about the, I don't
Right.
know.
Abby wanted Wu gone, and she threw enough of a fit about it that she got her way.
But it had
Yeah, but
nothing
it
to do with
was-
strategy. It had nothing to
Yeah,
do with
it-
gameplay.
It's
It was just,
emotional.
but it was
Yeah,
just
but that's
petty.
what
It was
Dan's
just
being.
pettiness.
Yeah, saying
Pettiness
she's
works.
not a good player. But
But-
Niko, if your moves are coming from an emotional standpoint, then they're not good moves. You
That's
might as
not
well not
Thank
make
you.
them.
necessary. That's not necessarily true. That not every
that is
emotional
true.
But
move.
it's not
no.
necessarily. It's not necessarily
It's not
wrong
necessarily
either.
wrong either. But I'm
But if
just
she's
saying that
if
you
she's
can make an
only-
emotional move and it can still be the right move.
Absolutely, but hers were not. They were just simply, I do not like you, and that's all it was. It had
Right.
nothing to do with gameplay. It had nothing to do with strategy. It had nothing to do with future thought. It was just simply, this is what I want. And people could have very easily said, well, screw Abby. We got to get rid of her. Abby got by
No.
simply because they were such broken up tribes, and it went on for so long. And then once they got to the merge, Abby was instantly on the outs. But she's a great GOAT. She would have been a beautiful GOAT to bring to the end of the game. And I think people were thinking that way. She made it to the merge, and that's the only reason why she made it as deep as she did. She would have been awesome to get rid of early, but they couldn't. There was no way to get rid of her. They needed that one extra vote because the real strategic people were thinking about self-preservation. So they had to have Abby because they had no other choice. So, I understand what you're saying, and I'm not saying that you are wrong completely, and I'm not saying that I'm right. I'm not saying that I'm right.
Right, no, I totally get. I'm just saying I'm giving her a little bit of credit for the fact that she was even in those positions. I mean, granted, I think a lot of it is because she went on the island and she immediately loses her shit, and so
Yeah.
she immediately presents
Episode
herself
1.
as someone exactly right away, 5 minutes in. Where the fuck's my bracelet?
Right.
But I'm also saying to Dan, other Dan, Mr. Robot over there up in Canada, where
Cool, man.
never have emotion ever.
So
You can
no
have
emo-
emotion.
You have no
Emotion's
emotion,
fine. I just don't think you should let it influence your decision-making process.
I know. I'm just saying that that's not rational.
Wait, so Dan, if you had
It
a
is
friend,
completely irrational.
Dan,
It's
if
not
you-
rational in the sense that it's not going to happen.
Yeah, it is.
No,
if you
no,
can
no, no.
separate yourself
Dan, I'm
separately
to-
from your emotion.
Dan, I
Like,
agree with
how
you
do you-
100%. I agree
if
with
you're
you
able
totally.
to compartmentalize things, like work, I have to compartmentalize things for myself. Like I can't bring home some of the stuff I deal with, or it would tear me up.
Right. You have
like,
to be able to leave it behind.
Oh, I'm saying
Yeah.
that you should. I'm not disagreeing that you should try to make decisions without bringing emotion into it. I'm saying that when you're out there, for whenever you're out there, dying 27 days into it,
Yeah.
it's going to be really hard to, I just feel like it's almost irrational to believe that there's going to be no emotion into the game. I think people that think that they can just never, be in touch with their emotions for 39 days, I think they're delusional.
I don't
Well, I
think that's
think it
what
all
Dan's
depends.
saying. That's not what
It
Dan's
dep-
saying at all.
Two words,
I think
Brian.
Dan-
I think it
Dan is
depends on
he's
the
based-
person. Yeah.
Well, and
And-
and also it's not to be emotionless in the game. It's to recognize that this is the emotional decision, this is the logical decision.
Right. I
It's
understand
knowing
that.
it's knowing the difference between the two and sticking with the logic for what's in the best interests of
Yes.
my game.
Right.
Even though I loved Joe, I loved hanging out with him, I loved talking to him, I liked doing stuff with him. He was great, but he had to go. So logically, he was the choice. But logically, Joaquin was the choice before Joe. And it's the ability to separate them. He's not talking about being a mindless, feelingless rope. That's sexy, Dylan. That's awesome.
Let me today.
No, I totally understand what you're saying. I mean, like I said, I don't disagree with in terms of when you're making the decision, you need to be able to separate one from the other. I'm just saying from conversations that I've had with Dan that he's an emotionless robot.
I am pretty emotionless, yeah. I can feel empathy, and I am an emotional person. It's just I'm
You
more,
don't care. That's all.
yeah, I'm kind of apathetic because I don't know. I don't really care about anything. But
Okay,
also,
so then,
like, I
so
don't
then if you ever
cheat
get
my
if
well, you know?
so if
just-
you ever get the chance to play, you're Spencer. I have emotions. I just choose not to use them. You know, I think people
Hey.
are idiots. I think people suck.
Hey, my argument would be I feel more than anyone. It's just I don't express it. You know, I'm an introvert.
So you're
by
a
nature.
Vulcan. All right.
Yeah.
You're a Vulcan.
Yeah, I'm a Vulcan. Well, I'm like Spock. I'm like a half breed. So.
Well, I think even the Vulcans, you know, okay, I'm going to geek out on you guys. Here we go. Even the Vulcans say that they actually have deeper emotions than even humans do, but they realize how illogical and irrational they are, and that's why they purge themselves of the emotions.
Purge. I want to do purging. I love purging.
Yes, that's lovely.
Cool.
I want to make a comment about Keith.
Okay.
Alright, so my comment is, did anyone notice that when he got voted out, they gave him the Heroes final music, like the music they normally play for the last person voted out of the game? Even though he was second to last, they still gave him the hero music when he
absolutely noticed that.
Yeah, because he's the hero. I mean, they do. I mean, how can you not give a positive ending to his story, no matter how he goes out of that game?
I'm just saying that just shows how much, like, I think the people on Survivor, the production team, and everyone loves Keith, that they made an exception for him and gave him the edit. He's also amazing at Ponderosa. Instead of hanging out with the jury, he went and hung out with the Cambodian locals and drank beer with them. Just hung out with them in the woods instead of hanging out with the jury.
Are you serious?
Yeah, like he went like not for the whole time, but like for part of the time, he just went and chilled with them and like drank beer and told stories. It's actually pretty cool.
I haven't watched the finale Ponderosa videos yet. I haven't had a chance.
So
I haven't either.
Also, there was a big connection with Joe and Keith at Ponderosa too. Like they were like really close. It seemed like. And Joe's the one kind of narrating this story about Keith. Instead of hanging out with the jury, he's hanging out, and Joe's saying like, "There's Keith over there," and Keith is like sitting like a plastic lawn chair, he's like, like laughing. He points to one dude driving a golf cart into a tree. He's like, "That guy can't drive."
Keith's probably got the greatest Survivor laugh of all time, eh? Anytime they got a chance to play Keith's laugh, they ran with it.
I know.
And it was always followed by him hawking a loogie.
Yeah.
Spitting and laughter is trademark.
Spit and laughter, lap and spit.
Yeah.
So let's jump into Jeremy a little bit. Just in terms of looking at the grand scheme of things now, looking at the game from day 1 to day 39, Jeremy wins, plays a perfect game in an all-star season. Where would you guys put him in terms of just we can do a winner ranking, we could do it in terms of just a player ranking in general. I mean, where would you put him? Because I mean, he had some big moves, but he didn't make a ton of big moves. He was subtle for most of the game. It was so much under the radar. I mean, yeah, he played the move on Steven, and that's questionable if that was even the right move.
I think that was a bad move. I still say that was a bad move on his part.
What was the move?
We know how things turned out. We know he wins the necklace at the final tribal council. Mm-hmm. I mean, at the final immunity.
Nope, Dan, you just lost your audio just cut out.
Yeah, now whose microphone's bad?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just
Go ahead. I was gonna say, man, I am tired this morning.
Yeah, did you get up at 6 a.m. for this show? No, you didn't.
Did you make it home last night, Dylan?
Yeah, my brother was supposed to pick me up. He didn't.
How did you get home?
My buddy drove me home.
Good. Responsible.
That's the good answer to say on air. We can get the real answer from you when you get off.
That is the real answer.
All right, let's see if we can hear Dan.
How about now? Am I back?
Yep, you're good.
Beautiful.
Real quick, if I gotta poop, should I do it on cam or not on cam?
No, I'm going to go with no on that one. Yeah.
Yeah,
I can't believe you asked that.
If you, walk into the bathroom while on the show, I will drop you from the call. So
Yeah.
that's how I feel about that.
It passed.
That's reasonable.
It passed.
Like into your pants? Like it passed into your pants? Did you just shit yourself?
Oh, you poopy pants.
Steven over there. We got Steven poopy pants over there.
Yeah, you get out of this shelter, Dylan.
You are poopy pants.
I would totally take a dump in the shelter. Not tell anyone. If I was pissed. I'd take a dump in the shelter.
You know something? I'll tell you right now. If you did something like that, production would lose their mind.
Are you serious?
They would. I'm not joking. They would have a stroke. They would come down on you with the wrath of God because it's unsanitary enough in these circumstances. But if you shit in the shelter, they would lose their mind.
And you know what I would say? I would say this
you guys
is a game.
want to hear a good story, Dylan? Similar to this?
Well, first of all, I would say to production, 1, they can build a new shelter. 2, I'm gonna sleep on the ground, so it's not my shelter.
In high school, my best friend, he had this guy burn it. There was a cricket, and this guy killed a cricket and set it on fire and put it in his shoe. And my best friend was so pissed. What he decided to do was during gym class, he shat on the floor. He picked it up in a plastic bag, and he zipped it up, and he put the Ziploc bag of shit in the front pocket of this kid's backpack, hanging on the wall in the change room. And then we go out and went to gym class like nothing happened, and we all come back in. And of course, my friend has told everyone that except this kid that there's a bag of shit in his backpack. But for some reason, he doesn't want him to find out because he wants him to take it home and to find it at home. But of course, we're all like looking at him and laughing, and you figure something out. And of course, he takes this bag of crap and throws it across the change room, and it didn't hit anyone. But yeah, Dylan, don't play with crap. Moral of the story.
I've had someone take a big thing of diarrhea shit and put it like on a bar and like swing it at me. And almost
that's disgusting. Let's change the topic.
It was very disgusting.
Hey, how about those Patriots, huh? That's awesome. Dan, the best part of that story was you referred to the whole thing as shat. I think that was the most exciting part of that story.
In the change room.
Is that what I said?
Yeah, the change room. What the fuck is that?
The locker room.
That's what we call locker rooms in Canada.
Canucks.
We call them change rooms.
You fucking Canucks up there.
You silly Canadians.
We don't even have lockers in them.
Really?
No, they're just rooms.
No, they're in Canada. No one steals them there because they're all polite.
Yeah, we're a bunch of hooligans here in America. We suck. We have to have locks on everything, but people can't be trusted down here.
Yeah.
Hey, I leave my door unlocked still.
That's fucking.
I do too. My doors are unlocked. Whatever. That's fine.
Don't advertise that on this podcast.
I live in Well, how many people? All right, give me another question from somebody.
All right.
People submitting questions again? Nice.
Oh no, they're not. But no, so I really didn't have a question, but just jumping back into Jeremy, where would you guys rank his game?
Probably behind Sophie.
I mean, I know it's fresh, but
maybe
I put him
up.
No, he's up there. He's definitely up there.
He's way up there. I put him up there in the Tony category because it just kind of seemed like even though it was an all-star cast, the fact that nobody had enough foresight to target this guy blew my mind.
I was bitching about this like every single week that no one would target him, Spencer, Joe. Like at a certain point, like you like I mean, yeah, Joe got voted out, but like they did target him till like 5 votes into the merge. Like when
that's because he was immune to the first 4 votes in the merge.
Exactly. Right. They wanted to get rid of him, they just couldn't. I know. I think
Dylan wanted to see on the air, hey, let's vote out Joe. Oh, we can't every week.
Someone should be thinking about it. No, I think Jeremy played a good game. Definitely.
The thing that I think Jeremy is paralleled with Tony is because even though this was an all-star cast, nobody targeted him, and it really blew my mind. Nobody has enough forethought to think this guy is nice, he's personable, he's kind of under the radar, I just couldn't get over it, and to me it was very comparable to Tony's season, where all he simply did was he's like, look at me, I got a necklace, you better not vote for me. And everybody went, well, I guess we better not vote for him. And they would vote somebody else out. And I'm like, why are you not splitting the votes? Why are you people so stupid? To split the votes, force him to play his necklaces, get those things out of the game.
With Tony?
Yes.
I was saying, because no one knew that Jeremy had the idols, and I would
almost
almost
compare... I was talking about...
Right.
I was talking about Tony.
But I would almost compare Jeremy more to Kim Spradlin. I mean, I think they played really similar games in terms of when Kim was playing. No one saw what she was doing. She never made any big, gigantic moves. They were all little subtle moves here and there. Everyone should have known that she was going to destroy anyone in the final tribal council, and they still kept her because she made great relationships. She played a great social game, and people liked her. And I think it's the same thing with Jeremy.
Is Jeremy better than Kim then? Because Kim plays a bunch of idiots.
Yeah,
I think Kim played with a bunch of idiots.
Yeah.
I put Jeremy over Kim, and I know people will disagree with that.
I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying in terms of, because you can't really, I don't bash Kim for playing with a bunch of idiots. That's not her fault. She took what was handed to her, and she worked with it.
We're saying
I'm not bashing her even a little bit. But I think people have put Kim up on such a high pedestal because they say she played one of the greatest games. No, she didn't. She had a bunch of lemmings to play with. How tough is it to win that season? I think Kim was very smart. I think Kim did a great job with what she had. But I don't think she had a huge amount of difficulty. And I think there's just something about Kim. She looks at you with those blue eyes and just melts you. She could say anything to you, and you're going to believe it. She could have told your buddy to eat that bag of shit, and he probably would have done it because she's just so good at that. But again, it's like, how great was it for Boston Rob to have won his last season? They were handpicked for him. At least it seemed like it. He had a bunch of lemmings that's like, oh, Boston Rob, and little hearts are popping over their heads, and part of it is the fact that you won. Great. I mean, you get credit for that. You do. But to put some of these victories up on really high pedestals, I don't know necessarily if they deserve it, only because I don't think they faced some of the Herculean challenges that other people faced in other seasons.
Yeah.
And it's hard to quantify that. All you can quantify is the winner. You can't quantify the circumstances.
Right. Well, and it's really... Oh, go ahead and finish.
I think that Jeremy played a better game because I think he had a much more difficult season to work with than she did.
Well, and I was going to say, and I think it's hard to determine a lot of times when you see these players play these dominant games, it's hard to determine based on the edit because, the editors are going to play it however they want to play it. It's really hard, I think, sometimes to determine how tough the competition is sometimes. Because sometimes, how do we really determine, did this player, they wanted a shutout? Does that mean that everyone else just sucked? Or was it because they played so well? It's really hard to pick it out. Because, you could have a person who won 4-3 and then goes, oh, well, it looks like they had a tougher competition. They won, so they were a better win. But in reality, the person who won, 9-0 might have played a better game. It's so hard to kind of determine who really played a better game, which is why it's just so trivial sometimes to say who did better here or there, because we only see little pieces of an entire season and only a story that's being spoon-fed to us.
Well, and the story is also it's literally manipulating time because they know what the start of the season looks like, and they know what the end looks like, so they change the beginning based upon the fact that they know what the end looks like. Yeah. I had heard that Tasha in both seasons was actually kind of a bitch. You know, she was very gloaty. She was she was kind of condescending. Yeah, she was rude. She was condescending. But since she made it to the final, they had to give her a nice edit because they want at least some semblance of confusion as to who might win the game. And
who talking about?
Tasha.
Oh yeah, fuck Tasha.
You know, I mean, Sabrina Thompson. There was another one. You know, Courtney, same season, Survivor One World. You know, Sabrina got what? Chelsea. Thank you. Chelsea got what? Not Courtney. Sabrina? Chelsea, right?
Sabrina got a vote.
She got one vote, maybe.
Yeah.
But when it came to the second chances, it's Tasha versus Sabrina. Come on, who's going to win that one?
Right.
That's
Tasha's
a no-brainer.
more recent too.
But she was also a much better player. She was a much better She was much better TV than Sabrina.
Right.
Do you know the backstory about Sabrina? How she got on the show?
Nope.
No.
Sabrina.
It was 7-2. Sabrina got 2 votes. Sorry, I was looking it up.
Thank you,
Niko. Cool.
Sabrina Thompson actually applied to be on Survivor. Okay, and they got her application and they started to do some social media stalking.
Uh-oh.
So they found Sabrina Thompson on Facebook. Okay, it was the wrong Sabrina Thompson. It turns out there was another African-American lady named Sabrina Thompson who lived in the same area, and the one that they took had never applied, had never watched the show. But based upon her social media page, looked like a more interesting person. So they contacted the Survivor Sabrina Thompson and asked if she'd be willing to, do an interview and come out, and bam, she got cast. They liked her better.
Now that you're saying that, I feel like I did hear that.
I got to tell you,
really familiar now.
There's another Dan Foley that lives in this area, and I got to tell you, if he got cast because of the same circumstances, I'd have lost my mind.
Yeah,
I would have absolutely.
I gotta start eliminating all the other Dylan Wallaces around here. Yeah.
I think Niko's okay. Niko's okay on this front.
There'll be no confusion.
There will be no other Nikolai. I am the only one.
Oh man, I am so pumped to start editing my video too. Ugh.
Well, you're already way too late.
From the video?
I'm too late. They said apply now.
I know. Okay, so here's the deal. Final round of casting started December 13th. Okay.
That's 6 days ago.
Right. So you've already missed the window. Okay, for this round of casting, your video should have been in back in the beginning of October. Okay, so at this point you've got all kinds of time. As soon as they send everybody home, okay, all the finalists, they send them all home. They're all going to take 3-4 week break, and they all go on holiday, Christmas, New Year's. They'll get a break. They'll start in again middle of January. So send your video in middle of January at this point.
Middle of January. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah,
that's what I'm probably doing.
Yeah.
That's when they'll.
The first season of casting, right? The first
round is already gone. You've already missed it.
Yeah, first round's already done. Second round, yeah.
Second round is going to be probably going to start in April, maybe May.
Because they filmed that in July, right? Then or June.
What's going to happen? Usually, what happens is they film the first episode. They film the first season. It usually starts as soon as the finale ends. So it starts at the end of May. It might go as late as June.
Yeah.
But so they'll film June into July, and then they'll film the next season back to back, either late July or sometime in August.
Yeah.
And then that'll go August into September.
Right. Yeah, no, that'd be sick. I'm gonna definitely send a video in. Did you ever hear my idea for my video? Everybody told you one of my ideas.
Oh, all right,
no, this is great filmmaking. I believe he's gonna be a future great.
Okay.
A nice future Scorsese. Here we go.
So I've been looking up on sites how to have a good video and whatnot, and how to tell what's your character. But my opening, I want it to be a little gimmicky. I want it to be a little something they'll remember me by. All right. So
Okay.
basically, my idea is to either have a voiceover or a text interface that says, "In the game of Survivor, people often say they want to bathe in blood, but I actually lived that life." And it's gonna be me coming out with like some like crazy music out of a bathtub full of like fake blood.
Apocalypse
and, like,
Now music, yeah.
Yeah, like rising up, like just like slow motion, like screaming or something, and then cut to me like after a shower. Like, all right, I'm not actually crazy, but I am crazy about being on Survivor. Hey, what's up? I'm Dylan. I'm 25 years old from St. Paul, Minnesota. Going through the whole thing, and then get to my actual video, you know. But do you think the bathtub full of blood is too gimmicky, or do you think that works?
It's been done.
It's been done.
Somebody did it in a bathtub of milk.
Wow.
The guy was a dairy farmer, and he actually had a bathtub filled with milk, and he came out of it like the scene from Apocalypse Now, you know?
Yeah. Did it work?
All right, here's no, it didn't. Well, I guess it depends on your definition of work.
Yeah.
This guy, according to him, and I don't know if it's true or not, but he says he's had 6 semifinal round interviews and 2 final round interviews.
Mm-hmm.
And he's never gotten on the show. At the time, I had never gotten a phone call. So we were at an open casting call together, and we were talking to all kinds of different people, and somebody looked at the both of us and said, what's worse, being called so many times and never getting on the show, or never being called? And at the exact same moment, we both said, mine's worse.
Yeah.
And we both looked at each other, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Mine's way worse. And he goes, listen, how tough is it to be so close and not quite there? I'm like, dude, I'd love to have heard something, anything, some feedback. All I get is dead air.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like having your team go to the Super Bowl and lose. You'd rather get there and lose than not get there at all.
Exactly. I'd rather be in the game and get shut out than not in the game at all. I'd rather go down swinging than watch the third strike go by me.
Sorry, Niko, I wasn't thinking of your Seahawks. I'm an Eagles fan, so I've been to like 4 NFC
Vikings.
championship games and a Super Bowl.
Friggin' Eagles. The Eagles lost. Oh, my God.
I lived through Donovan McNabb. He was my favorite player growing up. I have his jersey still.
Hey, he just got released from prison.
Yeah, he got released from prison, bro.
Congrats.
I hope they were giving him chunky soup.
Yeah.
He was getting chunky something, but it wasn't soup, dude.
Yeah.
More of a gravy.
Bring in Mama McNabb. That's why, I don't know if you noticed, but my Gmail is PJ McNabbrook. It's just a smash up of Brian Westbrook and Donovan McNabb's last names. That's how big of a fan I am. Yeah, I love that. Those two were my heroes growing up, so I loved me some Donovan McNabb and Brian Westbrook. But
all right, hold on. I want to get back to Dylan.
Yeah.
Listen, the one thing that they hate. You know, some people have done like the quick clip videos, like there's a scene here and a scene here and a scene here and a scene here. That's okay and it works for some people. Other people do like the one take videos.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm not doing that.
What they don't want is they don't want the overproduction videos because it's not really reflective of who you are. You put so much focus into the environment of the video that they don't get a good sense of who you are.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that when you're doing that and you're overproducing, I think they're assuming that you have no confidence in yourself, so you're trying to make it look, it's all the bells and whistles that you're adding in to try to catch their attention because you yourself suck.
Most of my videos I've filmed so far have been on a cell phone, so it's like.
Honestly, the rule number 1. Okay, if you're going to make a Survivor video, you find somebody that has an old-ass camera. You find the oldest camera you can get your hands on.
Okay.
And the reason why is because the newer the camera, the higher the pixelation rate, which means the more difficult it is to get it down to the 30 megabyte size to actually send it to them.
I have such a huge issue like trying to freaking condense those things.
Yes.
But
My last.
the older it is, mean I can film more, or what?
Yes.
That's
Yes.
a good tip. That's a good tip.
Okay. Don't worry about the time frame. Forget the time frame.
There's no time limit there. It's just how big the file can
Well,
be.
they want to.
It's
They
just-
say 3 minutes.
They do say 3 minutes, and they kind of want it to be there because they can't have 20-minute videos out there. But if you go to 3.5, 4 minutes, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. But
you have to be
as long,
interesting.
but it also has to fit. It also has to be able to be uploaded. And if the video is bigger than 30 megabytes, it won't upload. Find an old camera. The last video I did, there was a guy that I had met at a casting call. Online, his name is Survivor Trev, and he and I hit it off instantly. And we've been friends for years now. He actually had an idea to just get in front of the camera, just talk about nothing, anything, doesn't matter, but nothing Survivor related. Okay. So, and I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, I remember an interview with either Probst or Burnett, and they were talking about this kind of thing, and they're like, we want storytellers. We want somebody who will keep us entertained.
Yeah.
This is a TV show. And I thought, something, I'm Irish. I can spin a web. I can tell a fairly entertaining story. I literally just turned the camera on, got in front of the camera, stood in my kitchen, and I just rambled it was almost on the money. It was like 2 minutes and 58 seconds. And I told the story about how I was responsible for landing a commercial airliner. And yeah, that's a true story.
Did you the pilot passed out and you're like, we need someone who can fly this thing, and you're like,
oh dude, that's like a dream come true for me.
I have a flight simulator on my computer, and you're just like, get in there.
No. I didn't actually land the plane. I caused the pilot to land the plane. All right, so I'm flying.
Okay, so this sounds like a totally different scenario now.
All right, so I'm in the plane. And I'm an excellent flyer. I'm sound asleep. I'm drooling before we're off the tarmac, okay? And I'm sitting in the window seat, and there's a guy to my left. And all of a sudden, we're flying from Portland to Chicago, and then the next flight is Chicago to Oklahoma City. So we're on the Chicago to Oklahoma City flight. The guy sitting to my left starts poking me. And he goes, excuse me, sir, do you have any medical training? What? And he says, do you have any medical training? I used to be an EMT. I was ski patrol. I'm still AED certified, CPR certified. Really? Ding. Calls a stewardess. Stewardess comes over, asks me the same questions. I give her the same answers. And she goes, come with me, please. I'm like, what the hell is going on? She goes, there's a gentleman in the front of the plane who's having chest pains. Would you take a look, please? And I'm thinking to myself, I didn't say this, but I'm thinking to myself, you've got a plane full of people, and I'm the best you came up with? Are you shitting me? Well, fuck it. This guy's going to die anyway. What harm can I do? So that's all in my head. So I just look at her. I said, sure, I'm certainly willing to. And I get up there, and he's in the very front row, so there's a little extra room in front of the guy. And I get down on a knee, so I'm eye level. I don't want to be standing over him, And I look and I introduce myself, and I said, what's going on, sir? Now, at that moment, another woman came up. Turns out she's a CNA. I've got more qualifications than she does. So I said, what's going on? He goes, well, I'm really hot. I'm really sweaty. My head hurts. My chest hurts. Oh, yeah, I had a valve replaced in my heart about 1.5 years ago. And I'm like, oh, shit. So I look at the stewardess, and I'm like, ma'am, don't you folks carry, portable tanks of oxygen? She went, yes. Okay, maybe we should go get that. Oh, that's a good idea. All right, so she gets the oxygen. We put it on him, crank it open. He's breathing pure oxygen. I'm taking his pulse, respiration. What's the last thing you ate? What meds are you on? Blah, blah, blah. And then I start asking him questions. Why are you going to Oklahoma? Oh, you're going to see your grandson. Very nice. And so there's back and forth because the more you talk, the more you breathe. After about 10 minutes, I said, how you feeling? Oh, he says, I feel a lot better, but I'm still a little hot. I said, okay. So I stand up, I look at the stewardess, I look at the CNA, and I said, listen, I was sleeping back there. Okay? When I woke up, I was sweating. So the plane is hot. So
Yeah.
I really think that he was just
Open a
hot.
window.
Yeah, that's a good move. Yeah, you take care of that on your flight. So I said, I think he was just hot. I think he started spinning in his own head. He made something out of nothing. I don't think this is anything. However, I'm a postal worker. I'm not a doctor. Okay? We should at least talk about the idea of thinking about discussing the option of exploring the idea of thinking about landing the plane.
Okay, what the hell did you just say? You said explore and think about like 8 times.
I did. This is how I said it to her. The moment the words come out of my mouth, she turns around, she grabs the phone to the cockpit, and she goes, Captain, the postal worker thinks we should land the plane. That's what she said, word for word.
The postal worker.
What a bitch.
So they land the plane, but they land in Kansas City, okay? And as soon as we land, the ambulance is there. They take the guy away. Now, what should have been a 5-minute turn and burn, okay? We only made half the distance, which means we had twice the fuel that we should have when we landed. So we landed overweight. So all the safety gear on the landing equipment tripped. So we waited over 2 hours for the engineering to show up to go through all the landing gear, inspect it, reset everything. So I get paid for my travel time. So when I got to Oklahoma, I had to call back to work to report how long it took me. And my boss is like, what took you so long? So I told my boss the story, and people still give me shit about this. It's been years. It's been like 6 years since this happened, and people still give me merciless grief about it. So I simply told that story in 3 minutes. I get a phone call. And basically I ended my video by saying, this kind of shit happens to me all the time. This is normal in my life. I am ready. Things like this are just another chapter in my book. I am ready for Survivor to be the next chapter. And that was the only thing I mentioned about Survivor. That was it. And I got a phone call.
Dylan and Niko, if you want to use my shit story, go ahead. I think that might seal the deal.
Well, you have to call it chat.
I've shit on things before. I have my own shit story.
I'm really sure that you
I've heard
do.
a lot of your stories, Dylan. Most of them are shit.
I do have a lot of. My brother was talking shit about my stories last night, weren't you, Christopher?
Was that because you were in his room again?
No, it's a different brother.
No.
When you do your videos, you really want to make sure that you flow. You really want to make sure that there aren't a lot of you know, you really want to be able to talk smooth and let it happen. But part of the problem is that the more you do it, because you're like, oh, that one sucked. Oh, I look silly in that one. Oh, God, what's wrong with my eye? You know, I mean, a lot of times it gets worse at a certain point.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, right now, I've just been taking clips of me doing things in my normal life, like coaching debate. Like I'm working with kids in debate, like, and it's like different clips of that.
Dylan, you should do like an 80s montage.
No montages. No montages.
And maybe like a workout scene of you training with a headband. Maybe
like leg warmers.
I might have a scene of me working out.
Arm curls with your freaking Sanadolls.
And then what you do is you
the entire training scene from
the Santa wall is definitely going in the video. The Santa wall.
Oh no! You got to make sure if you're going to do something like that, like an '80s throwback, do it with Olivia Newton-John and all the gay guys in the gym working out together. Yeah. That's perfect.
Well, the other thing is, my niche is going to be I'm going to be like I'm like the least Survivor person you'll ever meet. Like I'm afraid of fire. I hate bugs. I don't camp.
Great shape.
I'm in great yeah. That's what
I'm working on. Round is a shape, guys, all right?
Yeah.
But
then he is in great shape.
I see all these videos of people who are like, I'm super outdoorsy and I'm super fit and I love like doing outdoorsy things. And I'm like, I don't want to be that person. I want to be the person who's not outdoorsy at all. Who like
Well then you know who you're like? You know who you're like?
Who?
Suri. Yes!
Oh, really?
Yes!
Nice. Oh,
That's what she said. That's actually what she said in her casting video. She's like, I'm a nurse. I don't like the outdoors. I'm a couch potato. blah, blah. I mean, obviously you're not in Cerie's demographic because you're neither black nor a woman, but, you know, that category, you know.
Well, here's the other,
Cerie,
the other thing. In January,
It's
I become
definitely not black.
I become a treasure hunter actually because they in St. Paul, Minnesota, they hide a little like medallion like this big probably, like the size of a hockey puck. They hide it in somewhere in a park in St. Paul or Ramsey County where St. Paul is in Minnesota, and they give out clues every day to find it. If you find it with the clues after 12 days, you get $10,000. So
who
every
is
year,
this?
where is it? It's in St. Paul.
No. Who sponsors that?
Yeah, the Pioneer Press, the paper does.
The who?
The St. Paul paper, the Pioneer Press. Like the,
Wait, there's a newspaper that still has $10,000 to give.
so you have to figure out these clues, and I've come really close to me, so I'm definitely gonna get some footage of me medallion hunting for this thing, because it's great. Like we're literally one night we stayed overnight. We were in the snow, just digging, like just clearing snow, like shoveling snow, sifting through it with a rake, sifting it out, and then throwing it away, looking for the medallion. So
very Fargo-esque.
it is. Oh yeah, you betcha.
All right.
You got to make sure. All right, never mind. Go ahead. Let's get back on topic.
I was gonna say, because we only got about 15 minutes left with you, so I wanted to try and close it on a more Survivor note. The tribe swap.
Tribe swap.
What is that noise in the background?
Yeah, what is that noise?
Sorry, my idiot brother turned TV on.
God damn it, Dylan. Get your shit under control.
Hey, I'm in here. My room. Quiet, Mom.
All right, so let's take a
Meatloaf, Mom!
more hot pockets. Bathroom.
I want my cheesy puffs.
You see his mom come into the bedpan, shoving it under his ass. Like, so, like I said, we got about 10 minutes with you. Let's just take a look, like, quickly at the season overall. You guys overall, what do you guys think of the season in general? Did you guys like it?
It was pretty shitty.
In between? I mean, what do you guys think overall of the season?
Great.
It was a good season. I don't know what Dylan's mom thinks of it.
Dylan's
mom thinks it was a great season.
Yeah, she liked it.
I think it's top 5 overall. I don't know where it lies in the top 5, but I'd have to rewatch it before I place it. But yeah, it's in the top 5. A good season overall.
I'd say 4th overall, probably 4th.
You know, I'm terrible at ranking things like this. I've never been able. I don't have a favorite anything in my life at all. No favorite movie, song, food, nothing. I can't do that. It's just what strikes me. But I agree with Dan. I mean, this has definitely got to be a top 5 season overall. It was really entertaining. I think it was probably one of the toughest seasons to look at a cast and try and predict a winner in advance because there were so many power players that had enormous potential in this game. And they had, I mean, I still think there were goats in the season, even on the onset, before the season even started. But I thought it was, Fishback actually posted something on Twitter the other day talking about how the voting blocks changed every single vote. There were very few alliances that stuck true through the entire season. And I was teasing him, and I'm like, you have way too much free time on your hands. And, but it really, to his credit, it was incredibly interesting. And if you guys haven't seen it, check out his Twitter and see how he broke it down.
Is it the
single vote.
The one with the
head count?
Shireen targets Vetus, Varner targets Shireen.
Yeah, I read that.
Yeah,
that was cool.
Yeah.
Tasha had the most heads.
Hey Dan, have you come around on Steven at all as a player, or are you still kind of in the same boat where you were before the season?
Oh, I'm still the same boat. I think he's.
Yeah.
I think if you stood next to Spencer, he would reek of vinegar because he's so douchey. But I really think that he is 1,000 times smarter than Fishback ever was, because Fishback deserves to get enormous amounts of shit for how he went out this season.
Yeah.
Okay?
Who
Not
wants to go out playing at advantage?
Yeah.
I know, that sucks. No, it's even worse, though.
Way worse. Yeah, his is worse.
Thank you. His was so much worse because he actually got to deny somebody a vote, which all by itself is powerful. But he got to use that vote for himself, and he was so shockingly unaware because that was the 2-hour episode. So the first hour, Jeremy played an idol for him, and he was absolutely blindsided by this. He was slack-jawed the whole time. The very next vote, it doesn't dawn on him that people are lying to him and still going to target him. Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
You went
That
that
was my
far?
big mistake.
You are that far. I didn't even have a problem with. I mean, I did have a problem with him splitting his own votes, but the fact that you were so unaware of everybody else's intention that you were willing to split your own votes just shows how little you truly knew about the game and what was going on around you.
And they got people around them, yeah. You can't read that. You got to read the people.
Right, and he wasn't. He was so focused on his game and getting rid of Joe that he couldn't see what was going on around him.
I think it's how he didn't have self-preservation. He should have just cast. I don't know. Whatever.
Well, they wanted to split the votes because of what happened with Savage. You know, they were really upset. I mean, it was stupid not to split the votes the night Savage.
That was a stupid one.
That was stupid. But it was because nobody had enough leadership force to just sit down and say, listen, you vote this way, you vote this way. That's it. We're done.
And I think it's because people didn't want to put targets on their back either.
Yeah.
Which again is under.
Yeah.
You can still do that in a subtle way, but I guess the previous vote, it took nearly 2 hours to actually lock everybody down to split the votes before Savage went home. So when it came time for Savage, he's like, it's too exhausting. I can't do this again. I'm like, well, obviously you don't want to stick around again, and he paid the price for it. So, it's not that Fishback split his votes. It's that because even if Fishback had put both his votes at Abby, it would have been a tie. He still goes home. It's irrelevant. The fact that he didn't recognize what was going on around him after they just tried to get rid of him, that's what he should be ashamed of. That to me, that shows, his lack of knowledge in people and the game.
Yeah. I actually agree with you a little bit. Yeah. I agree with you.
I know you're a Fishback fan, man.
I know. I was sad to see him go out that way because I agree with you. I just don't understand. The best way to predict future behavior is past behavior. And what did people do right at the tribal council before? Right
here, Steven.
Thank you.
So that's where I kind of have my problem with the way Steven goes out is that vote split. It just made no sense based on past behavior of Spencer. You have to see that he's not really with you 100%, and you got to not take that risk at that point. And I agree with you there. I still think Steven's got some game to him, but I just think he misplayed it here.
I'm not going to say that Steven has no game. I'm not saying that.
Okay.
I just think he is grossly overrated. I think he has been given. JT is not a big thinker. Okay, he won the game and he won it unanimously, but he won it because Fishback led him there. And he won. What was it? The final 4 immunities. Which was a cakewalk. So
he won the last few.
Yeah, I think once Tyson went out, I think JT might have won out, or maybe just got beat at 1.
Yeah, I know he went to the end with all immunities, kind of like Mike did. So Fishback wanted to get rid of JT and couldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was his white whale that season. So we saw Joe as the exact same thing and got fixated on it. And I think Jeremy had a very profound comment. He's like, listen, if you get rid of Joe, well, then Spencer's your white whale. Well, then Kelly's your white whale. Well, then I'm your white whale. You're so focused on the small picture. You're so worried about saving the burning tree, you don't see the forest burning down around you. And that's why you got bit.
Oh, okay. Yep.
So we got about 5 minutes left with it, Dan. So I mean, I agree. I think this is a great season. I mean, it's no Survivor Fiji. It's no Gabon. It's no San Juan del Sur. But it's definitely up there. I enjoyed it. I got hit with a little bit of spoilers about midway through the season, so that kind of screwed it up for me a little bit. It wasn't entirely accurate, but
Yeah, way to go,
so
Niko.
that poo-pooed my. Well, it wasn't intentional, but so that poo-pooed it a little bit for me. But I mean, I still enjoyed the season. I really liked it. I love Jeremy. I loved him as a winner. I thought he played a great game. He's a likable guy. You like to see a good guy win in the end. You generally don't want to see the giant D-bag win.
That's me.
Exactly. You're a big fan of Survivor Thailand. That's your style.
I am a big fan of
Nice.
Survivor.
I love me some Ryan Hyden.
Yeah. Gotta love the Iceman. But looking forward to next season. They showed that preview. They showed like
Survivor Death Island.
Yeah, no kidding. To show 7 players, and my prediction is because after 10 days, there are the only 7 players left in the game. I think half the cast dies halfway or gets medically evacuated. I mean, good God.
Well, I think they said there's no spoilers. I don't want to say anything. But more people were medically evacuated next season than any other season.
Yeah.
And that doesn't even include production. Production got sick. Production were being medically Production were being medically evacuated. I guess one of the people that were evacuated, I won't say gender, but this individual not only needed surgery, ended up getting skin grafts and I believe some plastic surgery that Survivor paid for. This individual was really like flesh-eating bacteria bad.
Wow.
Damn. Yeah, so I think it'll be safe to say they're probably not going to be going back to Cambodia again.
Well, I had heard rumors because Jeff had to go to your finale, right, Dan? Right after filming that season coming up, I believe.
Yeah.
Because they filmed that season early.
32 was filmed in March and April of this year, and then my finale was in May. But I think the Second Chancers had a monster benefit because 32 was filmed first.
And they were ready.
So
they were ready for it.
They were more prepared for this. And I got to tell you, I know a lot of people didn't like it. They were pissed off. But I was actually very grateful that they built those people a shelter. I'm glad that they did it the way they did. But who wants to just sit there and watch everybody just sitting there huddled up in a shelter?
Yeah.
You know, they can't cook, they can't eat, they can't do anything.
They can't play the game. They can't provide any entertainment when they're sitting, all bundled together. And I'm pretty sure the only contestant to ever die in any kind of Survivor game, it was in one of the international games, was in Cambodia. Someone actually died on set in one of the international Survivor games in Cambodia. That's why I was surprised they decided to go to Cambodia.
I don't think that's the only one.
I think there's been 2 deaths.
Has there been 2?
And there was one in Europe. There was one in. I thought the most recent one was in Turkey.
Was it?
I could be right. I could be very wrong, but for some reason I want to say it was somewhere in Europe, and it might have been Turkey, but that was fairly recently. That was maybe 4 or 5 years ago.
I have one
actually,
actually.
I'm trying to look it up.
A French Survivor contestant.
Yeah.
France had a death.
Yeah, here it is. I got it right here. So French Survivor contestant dies during first challenge. Hold on a second.
It was douse yourself in gasoline.
Oh yeah, here we go. And it was in Cambodia. That's the one I was thinking of. So, a contestant on Koh Lanta, French Survivor, died on the first day of production in Cambodia. He had a heart attack during the first challenge.
And then the doctor that treated him committed suicide.
Yeah.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, and then here we go. Here's the other one. In 2009, a contestant in Bulgaria's version of the show also died after suffering a heart attack during a contest. And that one was filmed in Karamoan. So that one was in the Philippines. Yeah.
Here's a question. Here's a question for Dan. Let's say I make it on, yay me.
Yep.
I make it to the merge, to the individual portion of the game. What if I'm just like, I'm not competing in the immunity challenge. Like, I'm not gonna do it. What if I just said I'm gonna forfeit and just not compete? what would they do? Would they make me compete, or what if I was like, I'm gonna half-ass this thing, like just to save energy? Like, would they make me compete, or could I just like say, no, I'm not going to do it? Really?
I think they will. I think they will. I don't know if they will. I don't know if they will make you, but I think they will encourage you strongly to compete.
And your tribe mates would think you're a pompous asshole who has way too much confidence and arrogance, and they would just vote you out.
I'd be like, I'm tired. I'm not gonna do this. That's what I would say.
They'd get rid of you
Dylan,
fast.
don't you think everyone else would be tired and didn't want to do it either?
Well, I would be like, what if I say. My reason would be, if I don't think I have a good shot of winning, like, if it's a challenge I can win, yeah, I'll do it. But if I don't think I have a good shot of winning, why should I waste my energy
They just half-ass it. Just don't put any effort into it.
Listen, dude, you're a fat ass. Nobody's going to believe you could win, so that's fine. But the thing that will piss people off in that is that what else are you saving your energy for? You go back to camp and there's just shit on you. No. You go. If there is any genuine players there, nobody will respect that, and they won't want you to go to the end. They will find a different goat to take other than you.
Let's be honest, Dylan. You're not making the merge anyway, so I don't think we need to discuss this.
Yeah, I can't picture Dylan being like the worker bee, getting mad at people for not getting enough firewood.
I would not be working hard at all. I think
Dylan out there would be beating a different kind of wood.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'd be like, all right, well, everyone's building a shelter. I'll be the guy, like, I'm gonna get the palm fronds and make the bed.
I'm gonna be the guy taking a nap.
So you would be the palm frond weaver, Dylan.
As lazy as I am, I know.
You'd be Shamar levels.
Yeah, I would be Shamar level lazy. No, as lazy as I am, and as like lack of work ethic I have, I know that you can't be lazy the first couple days on the show. So the first couple days, I'd bust my ass.
Dude, you can't be lazy until the merge. You would have to. Seriously, because why would they keep you? If you're a turd in challenges and you're a turd around camp, you are a weak link, and a smart player should get rid of weak links in the beginning. Because I told Tyler this, and I'm like, you guys were stupid to have gotten rid of So. She was strong, she was fit, she was athletic. The only thing you care about before the merge is never meeting Jeff Probst. That's all you care about.
That's very old school. That's a very old school mentality.
And I keep telling people.
I like it. I like it too. I agree. My main thing would be,
don't go to tribal.
I gotta hope there's a lot of puzzles. Hopefully.
All right.
These are puzzles.
So let's wrap it up. Dan, I know you gotta go. I know you gotta get to work. Get ready. So we'll wrap this up for you. Great season. We had a lot of fun. Dan, thank you for coming on multiple times this season.
Yeah, go Dan.
I'm sure the fans hate us for it, but we really appreciate it.
I'm sorry to rub all my hate off on you guys, man. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
You tell them about the Twitter? You tell them about the Twitter thing?
About the Twitter thing this week?
There's no such thing as bad publicity, Dan.
Some dude was talking shit. So we fired back at him.
Really quickly, before we let you go, we had someone on our show last week, not a Survivor player. He was a fan. Ben asked us to bring him on, so I said, fine, I don't care. We don't have a guest, whatever. We bring him on. Show goes fine.
And I was gone. So
he talked a little shit about you on the show, and we didn't care. I'm like, oh yeah, he's a good guy, but I totally understand. He looked like an ass on TV, whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm like, he's a good dude though. We've talked to him, we like him, he's a good guy. So after the finale, one of our fans sends us this picture of a tweet saying that the guy wants nothing to do with this anymore because we're bringing you on the show. And so we're, well, I don't remember the words he used. Basically said we're idiots because we're bringing you on the show and he can't associate.
Niko's getting fired up.
He said fuck you guys. Fuck you guys.
So I was like, all right, that's fine. So I was gonna go find the tweet and throw some shit back at him.
Well, Niko was like, should I say something? I'm like, don't say anything. Don't get a Twitter fight.
The dude deleted the tweet, goes out and throws the shit out there, and then deletes the tweet. So now I'm even more fired up. I'm like, oh, you're going to throw shit at us, and then you're going to delete it like a little bitch? Now we're going. So the guy sent me the picture of the tweet. So I go out and retweet to the guy and be like, hey, dude, we brought you on the show, and you're literally you're a nobody. And that was probably worse for us than bringing Dan Foley on the show, because at least he brought us, viewers. So he's like, oh, well, I didn't mean to delete the tweet. So I'm like throwing shit at him, calling him.
What do you mean I didn't mean to delete the tweet? What does that mean?
He said if anything, that would be a tweet he wants people to see because of how much he hates you. So I called him out. I'm like, dude, at least have a pair of balls. I'm like, I don't care. You're gonna throw shit. Just
And then
grow
Evil Dick
stand by it.
Evil Dick tweets it out. And I'm like, dude, that's weak. And he even says, he's like, dude, that was kind of a puss move.
Yeah.
So then the guy blocks me because I was throwing shit at him. And so I'm like, dude, you're going to throw shit, start shit, and then you're going to block us because you can't take the heat. You're a puss.
Because he can't handle the juice, exactly.
He can't handle the juice. So
and I'm just like, Niko, stop applying. Niko,
the whole time, Dylan's like, dude, you're causing us bad press. I'm like, fuck that. I'm like,
no.
You don't throw shit.
I can see why Dylan was unsuccessful in calming Niko down. Niko, you're fired up just retelling this story.
And this is the thing. And this is why.
You got fired up. You're like yelling at the screen. You're like, fuck this guy.
So here's the thing, and I was this pissed off too, because when we had Joe from Survivor Shade on a couple weeks ago, it was right after the stuff with Abby happened, where she was getting all that hate on Twitter for voting out Joe. And I came on the show, and I flat out said, if you're one of our fans and you're throwing that kind of shit at Abby for voting a player out in a game, fuck you, because you're a piece of shit. That was the end of it. I don't deal with that. And so the same way, you've been on our show multiple times. You're a good dude. You stick your foot in your mouth. We all do. But you're a good dude.
I do.
If you want to throw shit, throw shit. I don't care. But if you're going to throw shit for absolutely no reason to be an asshole, I consider you as part of our little podcast family. So when people come at my family and then they're going to, say, all that kind of shit, and they're not going, and they're going to back off of it.
Wait,
I'm going after
people throw shit against you all the time. You never defend me.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah, but you don't, Dylan. We don't care about you. That's the difference. Listen, I will tell you with a 100% certainty that every single person that I have met that has told me to my face they didn't like me, they hated me all season long, they defended Shireen, they just all they want to do is talk shit about me. But as soon as they meet me, I have swayed every single person that has ever had a negative thing to say about me. And I mean, honestly, I don't know if that is more reflective of me or the edit or the individual, or I don't even know what it is. But if you don't like me, that's fine.
It's a lot easier to judge something you see on a screen until you meet someone in person and have or even like this, have a conversation with them and have like a human connection. You don't really understand a person. I think a lot of people speak of characters they think they know when they have no idea about the actual real person.
Because you're not seeing the whole picture. You're not seeing the entire rounded picture.
You're seeing it through a certain colored lens,
even with you, Dan, I didn't hate you watching last season. I thought you said stupid things, but I didn't hate you because I know, as an intelligent human being, that we're seeing an edit. We're seeing whatever. I was pretty convinced that you were not an asshole. I wouldn't have contacted you if I felt like you were an asshole. I had no, I'm not going to make any judgment off of a person based on the show. I don't think Will Sims is a terrible human being just because he told Shireen, to fuck off. Yeah, I would have too. But, I'm not going to base anything off of that, off what I see. I don't like Tasha as a contestant in the game. I've heard that she's not a great player, but I'm not going to make the judgment. I've never talked to her. I've never met her. But, so that's why I was so fired up. I get fired up. If you're going to throw shit, stand behind it. If you can't stand behind it, then I'm going to come after you because I'm ruthless.
Well, if you can't... Yeah, but if you can't stand behind it, then keep your mouth shut. Exactly. This goes back to what we talked about in the very beginning about people that are they just want to be able to spew this hate because they can't speak freely in their everyday life. But they only want to do it as long as that hate doesn't come back upon them. And that's what matters. They want to do it in a safe way. They want to do it in a secure way. They want to do it in a pansy-ass, spineless, cowardly way. Okay? I say things that I say. You might agree, you might disagree. You think I say stupid things? I think you're an idiot because I stand by what I said. I still say flippers never win. But it's the context of the word flipper that was what we all seem to disagree on. And I have modified that. The flippers rarely win. You know, and I think, you know, I have modified that. I am not always right, and I don't claim to be, you know. But one of the things that actually my wife has said this about me. She said that you are so frequently correct when you open your mouth. And the reason why is you don't open your mouth unless you know what you're talking about. Have I ever been wrong? Hell yeah, I'm wrong all the time. But I don't generally make an opinion or a statement unless I've got a lot of information to make that statement. And that's why I tend... Go ahead.
It's better to keep your mouth shut and have people think you're a fool than to open it up and remove all doubt.
Yeah, no, I'm going to open my mouth. Yeah, no, I'm not down with that. Yeah. You know, I have a very hard time keeping my mouth shut, especially when people are talking shit about me.
Yep.
No,
So,
I'm just saying that kind of means what you said. Pick your spots. Don't feel like you have to talk about everything.
Well, I think that quote basically means if somebody's talking shit about you, don't ever respond. Because if you respond, you just make it worse. And
that's what Dylan was saying the other night when they were throwing stuff at us. Because I had a tweet already out just to blast the guy. I'm like, I'm not going to. And he's like, yeah, don't do it. And then like 2 minutes later, I'm like, fuck it. We have 2 fans. What do we have to lose?
Thanks, Aaron and Josh, for following us.
Anything we can do. Anything we can do to get people to like us. So.
Well, and that's not why I did it. I did it because I was legitimately fired up. Like,
you still are, dude.
I don't do it. I don't deal with it.
You're still torqued up over there.
I can tell.
In Survivor production,
I love it.
Casting. If you're watching, if you want someone with some passion and fire, you want a confessional, fuck that. I'll do a confessional.
No, Niko, I'd say you just tell the story of the time you passionately defended Dan Foley on Twitter.
Yeah, but I want to get on the show though. They're gonna be like, this guy defended Dan Foley. Fuck this guy. Next.
Oh no! If you're gonna say. Listen, they can say whatever they want. Probst tried to humiliate me at the finale, but at the end of the day, he was still in Entertainment Weekly, and he was quoted.
Yep.
Dan Foley is the single best character in all 30 seasons. Come on, you know. Thank you.
Yep. All right, man. Well, I don't want to keep you longer. I know you got to get to work. Like I said,
I'm
thanks
sorry,
for coming on. You're totally good. No worries.
Listen,
we love our conversations.
Listen, this is the 3rd time this season. I had a blast every time. Obviously, I'm pissing people off, so you know what that means? You know what that means? You know who I am.
Yeah.
You know exactly who I am. And I said episode 1, you will remember me. So, I got my wish. So, listen, guys.
Careful what you wish for.
Yeah, exactly. Be careful when you rub that genie's lamp.
Yeah.
Guys, I seriously, I wish you all, I don't know what you guys celebrate personally. I wish you all a very Merry Christmas. I hope you have great holidays. Stay safe, Dylan, you alcoholic, all right? Love you guys. And hopefully we'll talk next season.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll love to have you back for Survivor 32. If any of our fans can stick it through that long, we'll definitely be back.
All right, guys, take it easy.
See you later, man. Have a good one. All right, guys, that was Dan Foley again. Loved it. And we're gonna wrap up here too.
Thanks for watching us.
Any closing thoughts from you guys? We'll probably do, if we can, one more show to get Ben back out here. Just do like a quick little closeout. Probably next week.
What? To do what?
We'll probably do a closing podcast just for the 4 of us, if I can get Ben in. And if I ever hear from Choi Zan again, because we were set up to do something.
Let's bring Jude back. Let's get him on to make an apology to us.
Yeah, that isn't going to happen. That dude can go fuck himself.
Niko mailed him a bag of shit.
Yeah.
All right.
Freshly sweet. But it's been fun for everyone this stuck out through it this far. We appreciate it. We got a couple big fans out there in terms of Josh and Aaron. Aaron messages me every week just to see how I'm doing. Like, doesn't he want to talk about Survivor? He just likes to talk. So, Aaron, you're a good dude.
Hey,
Josh,
you never message me.
Same to
Josh.
Josh. Josh
Josh
messages
just threw
me
a
all
lot
the
of
time,
shit,
man.
a lot of shade.
No
We
one
love.
messages me ever.
Well,
Jesus.
yeah, and I know Dylan's like, you never defend me on Twitter. I constantly take shit. All I have to say to that is, go look at the power rankings numbers, and
I won. I won in the end because I had the winner
I
pick.
gotta protect the important entities.
Yeah.
Your 12 view production on the power rankings is not at the top of my list. But
Yeah, so I think we can officially announce those power rankings probably not coming back next season.
we can probably do like a preseason one and then maybe a merge one, and we'll probably leave it at that. We'll come up with some new show ideas over the off season. We'll probably do a couple off season podcasts when these guys eventually go see Star Wars, if they're going to. We could do a
I'm
Star
going
Wars
to. No spoilers,
podcast.
please. No spoilers, please.
So I know, obviously, I'm probably the only one who's seen it so far. I'll just say thumbs up. That's it. Good lord, you guys. So we'll wrap it here. Everyone who stuck with us again, thanks for watching us this season. I know we're new. We appreciate it. I know our show is scattered in a cluster, but
Hey, I'll
was
bring
fun.
some off-season podcasts if we got the time. I'll do something if Niko wants to
Survivor
step it up.
rewatch. Survivor rewatch.
yeah, we'll
Yeah.
figure something out. And yeah, for sure. And let's wrap it up. Follow us on Island Talk at WNH. At Island Talk WNH. We didn't quite hit our 200 followers that I wanted to hit by the end of the season. Like I said, we might
We're
do one more
close.
show. We are close. We are close. We broke 180.
I'll create some
183.
fake accounts and I'll create some fake
Guys,
accounts.
I want us to get to 500 by the end of next season.
And once I get a
500.
Survivor, 1 million people will follow us.
Yeah, hopefully. Hopefully. And then just for that first boot.
I've
Yeah.
been going
Otherwise-
to other people's Survivor audition tapes, and I've just been commenting first boot on them.
Oh, I know. You told me. You're a dick. But so Dan, thanks for doing this with us. Thanks for doing this with me. I know it was a spur of the moment idea that came out of our little org. But thank you, Dan. Thank you, Dylan. Ben,
No,
I know
no
you're not
worries.
here, but thanks for doing it with us. You were entertaining as hell. You took a lot of shit. So we appreciate it. It was fun. I've been wanting to do this for a couple years now, so thanks for helping me out with it. Yeah, I know you did.
I did too. I always had this idea, but you guys have seen my tech savviness. I never had the skills to act it out. So hey, I'm glad we met up and you could hook this all up for us.
And I want to throw a couple more shout-outs really quick. Thanks to Billy Garcia, John Carroll, the Survivor Shade group. Thanks, Dan Foley.
Yeah.
You know, thanks to our fans. Fuck Jude.
Fuck Jude.
Am I forgetting
Hey.
anyone else?
We actually talked to Survivor players, which is better
Yeah.
than some other
Absolutely.
podcasts. So,
Yeah,
hey,
we actually reached out. We got some people on.
We
That's
conned
cool.
we conned them good. We conned them good.
Yeah, I know. The fact that Dan still said, "Oh yeah, I'll totally come back." I mean, I think that'll determine more than anything else that
Dylan, do you have any shout-outs?
we duped him.
I'd like to give a shout out to my main man Sam. Thanks for watching Survivor with me this season. He is
Mhm.
now hooked on Survivor. This season got him hooked. So.
Yeah, that's what I like to hear. So thanks to everyone that watched us.
Shout out to my softball team who tuned in for like the first half of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really carried our early.
They
Yeah,
did.
they carried our early viewership numbers.
They did.
So
They did.
we gotta.
And Dan, do you want to throw any shout-outs out there real quick before we wrap it up?
Dylan's mom and dad, I love their cameos. So shout out to them.
Dylan's
Nothing
brother.
else.
My brother came in
Dylan's,
that one night.
Dylan's brother. All the Santas in Dylan's basement. I don't know. Dylan himself. Shout out to Dylan.
Upstairs room.
Dylan doesn't get enough love here, so I'll shout out to Dylan and you, Niko. Good job, guys. I'm probably the least professional.
What a social
So.
what a social game.
Thanks.
What a social game. What a social game for sure.
On
I think
point.
that's it. I was trying to make sure I wasn't like forgetting any of our guests that we had. I didn't want to throw any of that out, but I'm looking. You know, it was Dan, it was Billy, it was John Carroll, it was the Survivor Shade crew, so Bryce, Isaiah, Joe, thanks for coming on. Really appreciate it.
We gotta get Bryce on. We gotta get Bryce on
I
next
know.
season.
We'll talk to him next season, and I'll try to get him on. And then, even though Brant Steele, we didn't talk to you. Thanks for your site. You helped us produce a podcast. So, granted, no one watched it, but thanks anyway.
Who?
It was a fun one.
Yeah, it was fun. That was fun for sure.
That Survivor simulation we did, Dylan.
Oh yeah.
That was just
right.
Dan and I.
I remember
But
that.
otherwise, thanks guys. It's been fun.
See you later.
Go ahead and go do your org game. I'm gonna go back to bed.
Good night, Niko.
Good night,
So
Niko.
see you later, guys. It's
Good
been
night,
later.
fun. We'll see you in a week. If not, we'll see you next season.
Bye.
Deuces. Dylan, you want to carry us out with the Island Talk theme song?
Dun 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 dun. Ba-da-dum-ba-dum.
Dun, dun.
But you guys messed me up. I had it, and then when you guys started singing, bum bum bum.
Island
All
Talk.
right, guys. That's been Island Talk. We'll see you next season.
And
See
Niko.
you later.
Bum bum bum. Ba-da-bum-ba-dum. Are we live still?